Well, everyone, by being here tonight, is supporting such a worthy cause, so thank you, each and every one of you, for that. And I'd also like to take this time to acknowledge some special guests that we have with us. If you so feel inclined, you can stand up, otherwise stay in your seats, but we did want to say thank you for coming tonight. So, Honorable Shinji Nagashima, Consul General of Japan. Honorable Oscar Altan, Consul General of the Republic of Turkey. Honorable Philip Wong, Director General of the Taipei Economic and Cultural Office. Ms. Sophie Delporte, Assistant to the Consul General of France. Honorable Larry Feldman, Miami-Dade County Public Schools. I think he'd have to slip out. And Dr. Kenneth Fortin, Provost of FIU. All right. John Yearwood, World Editor, the Miami Herald. Mr. Kelly Darden, Acting Special Agent in Charge for FBI. We're all on our best behavior, I promise. The Honorable Sarah Zabel, Circuit Court Judge. And again, thank you to all of you. All right, now, while there is turmoil all around the world, we are blessed to be enjoying a lot of peace and harmony right here in our South Florida community. And the credit for those gifts goes to our community leaders and our good citizens. Some of them we will be recognizing tonight. And I would like to invite Rabia Khan up here to introduce our first honoree of the evening.
Assalamu alaikum and good evening to all. It's a privilege to introduce the first honoree of this evening, but I would like to take a moment to acknowledge the past honorees who are present here tonight and have made this celebration possible by being exemplary bridge builders. Rabbi Solomon Sheff, the Dean of Interfaith Clergy is here, Ms. Roberta Shevin, truly a mentor of MCCJ, a driving force behind interfaith bridge building. Thank you, Roberta. A distinguished community leader and a champion of education, Mr. David Lawrence. And of course, a devout advocate champion of distressed immigrants, Ms. Cheryl Little. And it's my honor tonight to introduce our first honoree of this evening. She is a distinguished community leader who has served as an associate minister at Church by the Sea. Her passion for intercultural understanding stems from her background as a child of immigrants. She is a founding director and president of Americans for Immigrant Justice and an active member of MCCJ's Interfaith Clergy Dialogue team. My first introduction to her was through Mr. Muhammad Shakir. He took me to her and said, "She is my mentor." And I took an imaginary picture of her, and then it just so happened that I became a part of Interfaith Clergy Dialogue team, and I got to know her a little more. My last conversation with Mr. Shakir was about her presentation on issues of social justice and immigration laws at the last meeting of MCCJ's Clergy Dialogue. I came back and I told Mr. Shakir, we missed you there. The presentation was beautiful. He said, of course, she's a Harvard graduate. I said, no, that's not what I meant. He said, then what? I said, she has a compassionate heart. So please join me in welcoming Reverend Priscilla Filski Whitehead.
I know Dave Lawrence was worried that I was going to preach for 20 minutes. I'm not sure what they expected, but I have to tell you what a delight, but especially what an honor it is to be recognized for what I feel is just sort of living the faith to which I've been called, not just the profession, but the faith that has informed my life and rooted certainly in parents who were bridge builders by virtue of coming to this country. But partly the gratitude comes from just realizing that I've just sought in this little corner of the world to build the bridges one by one in the places where we happen to be. So I hope that as we are grateful for the honorees past and present who are recognized for that, we are all inspired to remember that in this world that continues to need desperately bridge builders and growing understanding from diverse people, that has not changed since the beginning of time, that we all have a place where we are, one by one by one, sometimes more dramatic actions and so on, but for the most part, changing the world in that one little place where we are. And so I'm grateful that you can affirm those efforts, as simple as they might be, because we can all do that and be part of it. And thank you all for providing the context for that and for being partners with me in whatever way that's been possible and will continue to be in this community. Thank you.
Well, now we turn to our second honoree, and that is Eugene K. Pettis. To introduce him, I'd like to invite Yasir Bilu to the stage.
Okay, assalamu alaikum and good evening. That reminded me, middle school, I ran for school president, and it was say Yasir to Yasir for president. That was my slogan. So that reminded, thank you. Before I introduce Eugene, I'd like to do a shameless plug here. I am the president for the Florida Muslim Bar Association. It's a group of attorneys, Muslim attorneys. Most of them are sitting right there at table 15. I'd like to, give you attention to that table because it's an important group as part of this community. And also, if there are attorneys here, and I know there are a lot of you, that are not members of the FMBA, you can go to floridamuslimbar.org, pay your fee, and become a member. So it's not free because, we're attorneys, and so nothing's free. We do a lot of great work. If you want to know about our work before paying money, I don't know why you would, but, go ahead and ask any one of us, including myself, but anybody from that table. But please do look at our website, floridamuslimbar.org, and you won't be disappointed. Now, I have the distinct privilege and honor to introduce Eugene K. Pettis. Mr. Pettis is an attorney, so don't hold that against him. But Eugene currently is the co-founder of a law firm called Halixer, Pettis, and Schwam. His extensive civil trial practice experience since 1985 in the areas of medical malpractice, personal injury, commercial litigation, professional liability, and employment law. He is recognized, has several accommodations and awards from a whole host of organizations. He's been named Best Lawyer of America, Best Lawyers in America. He's been named Top Lawyer by South Florida's Legal Guide. He's been named amongst Florida's Legal Elite by Florida Trends Magazine. He's been named Florida Super Lawyer multiple times. So he obviously has a lot of experience in terms of what he's doing. In 2007, he was inducted to an exclusive invitation-only organization called American College of Trial Lawyers and an additional organization called the American Board of Trial Advocates. Both are, as I said, exclusive invitation-only for preeminent attorneys, and he was invited and inducted into those organizations. In fact, in 2013, he received the award for Trial Lawyer of the Year in Broward County from the American Board of Trial Advocates. And as if that wasn't enough, in 2013, he was sworn in as the first African-American president of the Florida Bar. Now, understand what a big job that is. At the time, the Florida Bar was the second largest bar in the country with over 96,000 attorneys. I know there are a lot of us, but he was in charge of all of us at that point. That's an amazing feat. Now, whenever I'm asked to introduce somebody this amazing, I like to give a full picture, not just the great things, but also maybe one or two small, bad things. So I'm sorry, Eugene, I did some research, and I'm going to expose you here a little bit. There is one thing that I found that wasn't on the great side. He's a Florida Gator. That's fine. All I can say is, it took me a lot. It took a lot out of me to come up here and present this award to him. Despite the fact that he's a Florida Gator. But what I'm going to encourage everybody to do is what I did. Understand that was a long time ago. He's been an attorney since 1985. He hasn't been to that school in a long time. So maybe he's reformed. Maybe he's changed his ways. So at this time, please give a big round of applause for Eugene Pettis.
Thank you so much, Yasir. I'm a Gator through and through. I spent 7 years in Gainesville, and I have a lovely wife, Sheila, who's here with me this evening. And we have 2 daughters who are in Gainesville right now. One, I speak often, and I say we have way too many lawyers, but I want one more to get across the bridge before we pick up, and that's our daughter who's graduating in May. After that, but thank you. It's an honor to be here, and I've been a blessed individual, and besides my family, for the last almost 30 years, I've practiced law here in the state of Florida, and my partners have allowed me to continue to try to build bridges in so many different ways, and that's what my bar presidency was really all about. I stood on the shoulders of some really great people that didn't have the opportunity to stand and even consider to be the president of the Florida Bar. It was 116 years between the first African American being admitted to the Florida Bar in 1897, James Weldon Johnson, who went on to compose the Negro National Anthem, Lift Every Voice and Sing, and myself, Eugene Pettis, becoming the president of the bar. That's a long time, 116 years, and there was a lot of great people of all walks of life, of all nationalities, that had been left out and not included. And when I became president in June of 2013, I stood there as an example of what people can do when given an opportunity. And I just really felt the power of making sure that I set an example. And some of the things that I did, I hope for many, many decades to go, will continue to be building bridges in the bar and in the greater community. And I was very proud when I established the Leadership Academy and came to the Muslim Bar Association and asked Karim to please make sure we had applicants in there. And we had applicants from all around this state and representatives of this community, because there's one thing that I am absolutely certain of. We are a better people when we stand as one. There is no doubt in my mind. There's no doubt in my mind. And a lot of what you see, I see, we all see, really is born out of ignorance, out of lack of knowledge. And when we come together to understand each other's culture, it's an enriching process. We learn so much. And being bar president for 1 year is not enough. We have to make sure that we continue all of the efforts that we did over the last couple of years to truly change this state and to change this country. And it's people like us within this room that's going to be the difference maker. And I leave you with a quote that I often call upon that I think just embodies the message that I want to leave you with. And it's in the words of Dr. Martin Luther King when he stated, "An individual has not started living until he can rise above the narrow confines of his individualistic concerns to the broader concerns of all of humanity. Each of us should embody that, and we should all be standing for all of humanity. Thank you very much.
All right, we're turning to our third honoree of the evening, and that is former Congressman, the Honorable Joe Garcia. And to introduce him, I'd like to welcome to the stage Mehmet Ulutas.
Good evening, everyone. Assalamu alaikum and marhaba. I'm not a good public speaker, so bear with me. Our next award recipient is from political arena. I'll be honest with you, I always have reservations for the politicians. There have been only a few politicians that have impressed me, and Joe is one of them. He has done a lot for the South Florida community, but most importantly, he is genuine and he speaks from his heart. He is also one of the rare politicians who did not shy away from building bridges with Muslim community and in his district. He made himself available whenever we had questions and asked for help. For his building bridge efforts toward his constituency, and especially with South Florida Muslim community, Cosmos is honored to present this award for community services. Before I hand him over the mic, I will give him a cent, and I will let you know why. Once he told me that he is like one of those machines where you put in a quarter and he goes on for 2 hours. Now, I'll give him a cent, so I think Joe can do the math. Ladies and gentlemen, with great pleasure and honor, our friend Joe Garcia.
Thank you. All right, take a deep breath. We're going to take about 2 hours. No, I just want to thank all of you. Mehmet, thank you for that. I also want to thank some of the folks who introduced us into this community and made a huge difference in my perception of what my job was. Shabir, Nidal, Imam Zakaria, for his efforts, Mohammed with Dade County, and Kuram, who I think is doing incredible work with Emerge, and I invite you to keep doing that because you've got to confront this. You know, I was in a debate in this last election, which didn't go that well, but in the debate they asked me, you know, you attended an event with a known terrorist, Kuram Walid, and his organization. And my response was, no, I know him. He's a friend of mine, and he's not a terrorist. And that, I say that because I think when people get to know each other, when they work together, when they share their experiences, and in my case, with the great benefit that I had with my friends in the Muslim community, the openness that they received me made a huge impact in our effort and allowed us to make a difference, I hope, in how you are perceived in the community. But thank you for what you do in South Florida, and thank you very much for this honor.
And if you could come back to the stage, we have an encore of sorts. I'd like all three honorees to come back up here. We have another special presentation for all three of you. Now, Dr. Feldman, he had to leave due to an emergency, but he has asked Officer Sophia Shakir to present school board medals to all three honorees, so we'd like to do that at this time.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Because of the fact that Dr. Feldman is my boss, I was given an executive order to give these awards out, and I'm greatly honored. Thank you. Thank you. That was from Miami-Dade County Schools I'm right now with the police department, but Miami-Dade County Schools on behalf of Superintendent Carvalho, Dr. Feldman, and the board itself. Thank you very much.